Welcome to yoga at the Bethel Senior Center. Thanks for joining us today. We're gonna get our Zen on. Our word of the week is encouragement. So I encourage you to find a comfortable sitting position. You might have your hands up for being receptive. You might opt to have your hands down. You could have your hands into a mudra, which is thumbs connecting to one or several fingers, and that's an energy of connection and going inward. So I invite you to take a deep breath in, long, slow exhale. We breathe in peace. We breathe in calm. And we breathe in acceptance. Continue with your deep breathing. I'm going to ring the energy of the singing bowl so that it can clear space within you so that you can come into your practice from a place of calm and peace and acceptance. Bringing your hands together at your heart center, hands of peace and namaste. Your thumbs connecting to your sternum. It's a connection of inner and outer energy, a connection of breath and body. Arms lifting, hands coming down. If you can, bring your fingertips to earth, reaching up, warming up your shoulders and your arms, bringing an energy of calm to your heart. Lift up, hands come down. Connecting breath with movement. We come into our practice today through an energy of peace, of encouragement, of calming. Hands to your heart. I encourage you to set an intention for your practice today. How do you want to feel? How do you want to be? What is it you want to explore about your movement, your breath? Coming on to hands and knees. Your knees underneath your hips, hands under shoulders, moving your hips side to side to open up your back. So you're getting a nice gentle sway into your hips. Helps to open up tight back muscles, which, most of us have. And your lower back is the tightest part of your back, your lumbar spine. Tailbone to center, tuck your toes under, lift your knees, my friends, walk your feet forward. Hands onto your legs, soften your knees. Now some of you will be able to get to the mat. Some of you, if you have blocks, you can use your blocks. Lining up your toes. Bending your knees, lowering your tailbone, as if you're gonna sit onto a stool, looking toward the front of your mat. Exhale into fold. Let's do that a couple more times to warm up your legs. We did a warm up of your upper body, so we wanna give our legs equal time to warm up. Looking to your mat, front of your mat, and coming into folding. Breathing with your movement, your shoulders are melting. And finding your way into forward folding, your nose pointing in the direction of your legs. Hands on your quadricep muscles between knee and hip. Press into your legs, support your back as you come on up. Rise up, reach up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Arms lift, swan dive, freeze frame for a second. And then come on into forward fold. Bending your knees, hands up back on your quads, rise on up, reach up, deep breath. You might look straight ahead or you might look up at the ceiling. Swan dive, into forward folding. Let's come on into a half lift, lifting your head halfway up to get length through your back, through your spine. Exhale, fold. Knees bend, rise on up, reach up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Find your way into mountain pose, Tadasana. Hands at your sides. Lifting and lowering your toes. Warm up your feet, your foundation. We're doing yoga from the ground up, so you want to make sure your foot muscles are nice and warmed up, and you increase the foot strength. When you increase your base and your base gets stronger, what sits above, which is your entire muscular and skeletal system, will remain nice and strong. Lifting your toes as much as you can, and you might not be able to lift your toes, and that's okay. It's a connection of brain and feet, and that's neuroplasticity, which, you know, we want to work on this gray matter, although we cover up this gray matter. Lifting your toes and holding, lowering your toes, coming into chair pose, bending your knees, arms coming out forward from your shoulders, rolling your shoulders back. Lengthen your legs and your arms, reaching up, getting long through your torso, finding your way back into chair, sitting your tailbone back as if you are sitting into a chair or a stool. Come on up. And exhale back into chair. Really functional movement. And you think of every time you bend your tailbone to go sit to something. When you go eat dinner, you sit down. You go into your car, you sit down. Other parts of your day, you sit down. Hands to your heart, your left elbow over to your right side. Twisting chair, top of your elbow lifts. Hands very gently touching as if you're touching rose petals. Check in with your breath. Hands back to your heart, then onto your legs. Rise on up, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Pyramid pose, your right foot stepping back. You want to check that all of your toes are pointing toward the front of your mat. So you're going to have your feet lined with your hips, right foot back, left foot towards the center of your mat. Lifting your chest, so you've got lots of length going on through your torso. Ooh, checking your balance. Posterior leg stretch, so stretching all through your right side, hinging forward, creating a crease at where your top of your leg and your torso come together. Moving your hands to your leg, or maybe your blocks, or to the floor. Looking back into your right foot. Top of your head lifts. Big breath. Coming into a fold. A couple more times lifting up, and every time you lift, you're really working through your front of your left leg. All the way from your heel up into your glutes. Coming into your fold. Relaxing your shoulders. Can you draw your tailbone a little bit more back? Taking your right foot, stepping back, turning your toes out to the side of your mat, nice deep bend into your left knee. We're coming into Warrior One. Pressing through your feet as you rise on up. Relax your shoulders, checking that your front knee and hip are in alignment. So you're really grounding through your feet, and that gives you a nice solid base. Reaching up, hands come down, sweep your arms up. We explore our dynamic movement, hands coming down, before we come into a static hold. One more time, my friends. Reach up and hold. Letting your shoulders relax. You might look straight ahead, or you might look up to your hands. Just depends on what feels better for your neck. Breath in. Exhale, hands to your heart. Let's come into some balance. Tandem feet, right foot behind your left. So you might have your feet in connection, or you might take your right foot back and you might need a little space between your feet. So you get to explore what works best for you. I was going to move, but I'm going to stay right here. Standing nice and tall. Ooh, challenging balance. Lifting your heels. So every little movement you get into your feet and ankles is strengthening up the 19 muscles you have in each foot. Slowly lowering your heels. All right, Yogis, you ready? Big toe lifting, your number one toes. Challenging your balance through your breath, through your mindset. Encourage yourself that you're in the balance that's right for you in this moment. It might be different than you expect, but it is what it is. Lowering your toes, heels under your hips. Stepping your feet as wide as your mat or a little wider than your mat. Arms lift, hands come down. We're going to do some hip opening for your hips, your pelvis, lower back. Bringing your hips into a big hula hoop circle. You feel free to join in. Bring your hip points forward and back so as if your hips are tracing the numbers in the clock. We, of course, know exactly what numbers on a clock is, unlike some generation that just looks at the digital numbers. And the next time your hip points come forward, we're gonna reverse. Taking our hula hoop hips in a different direction. You might hear some little energy, some noise coming out of your hips, that's okay. So it's gases releasing from your hip joint. Bringing your hip points forward, stepping your feet to the center of your mat. Returning to chair pose, arms are reaching out. So imagine you've got a beautifully wrapped present and you're passing it forward. Here's your option. You can keep your toes onto the floor or you might lift your toes. That's gonna put your body weight back toward your heels a little bit more. It challenges a little bit more of your leg strengthening. Deep breaths. Hands to your heart, your right elbow coming over to your left side for our twisting chair. Checking that you've got very gentle touching into your hands, your left elbow lifted. You might opt to look at your mat, or you might look to the side wall. You might opt to look at your elbow and see what feels best for your neck. Your jawline is relaxed. Hands to your heart, lowering your toes, hands to your legs, rise on up, reach up, big reach up, and lengthening through your spine, hands to your heart. Pyramid pose, this time your left leg steps back. Straight step back. Lifting your chest. Forehead to nose, to heart, to navel. One long line. Checking in with your breath. Drawing your navel in as you hinge forward. Hands coming to your right leg, sliding your hands down as it's appropriate for you. And if you look back and you see that your left leg shifted, it's a great opportunity to bring your toes back toward the front of your mat. You have your blocks, you can frame your foot. Blocks are great tools. Lift the top of your head looking toward the front of your mat, creating as much space between ear and shoulder as possible. Surrender to your stretch and lift up. Come on back down. And when we surrender, it's not that we give up, it's we give to, we give toward, move in the direction of. Big breath. Drawing your tailbone back, so creating a really big stretch through your posterior right leg. Top of your head lifting, turning your left foot out to the side of your mat. Right knee bends, sweeping your arms up. Warrior one. Relaxing your shoulders. Catching your balance, that we have to do sometimes. Opening your arms out nice and wide so it gets you an opening across your chest. So you've got a nice strong bend in your right knee, knee and hip lined up, pressing through your feet so that you can strengthen all the way up. Check in with your breath. Hands to your heart. All right, yogis, let's come back to balance. Left foot this time in back of your right. Top of your head lifting. So you went from a wide base to a narrow base, and that's what challenges your balance. Lifting your heels. Ooh. Check out all your movement. So all of your movement, when you train yourself to come back into balance, it's muscle memory, so that when you come out of balance, you come back in. And the more you work on your balance, the more likely you are to stay vertical, the more likely you are to stay independent. Lowering your heels. Now your big toes are going to stay down with toes 2 through 5 lift. Right? Huh? Right? Ooh. You challenge your balance. Giving yourself words of encouragement. Your balance is what it is in the moment. It might be different than yesterday. It might be different than what's going to be tomorrow. And if you maintain your balance, it's actually progress. Because most people don't maintain balance. Lowering your toes, heels under your hips. Arms lift, exhale, come on into mountain pose, into Tadasana. Lifting all of your toes. We're going back into toe work because we love footwork, don't we? Yes, we do. We do. Bring your big toes down and then up and tap your big toes down. You engage your big toe every single time you walk, so you want to keep your big toe nice and strong so that you can keep your gait strong. Couple more taps. And you might be tapping a couple times, you might be tapping on a lot. Big toes lift, toes 2 through 5. Tap to the floor and lift. The key is to keep your ankles and your knees in alignment as you tap, and that keeps your foot centered. So then you're working on your foot muscles rather than your ankles. Couple more taps, keeping your feet strong, lifting your toes. Now let's alternate. Big toes down, up, then 2 through 5 down and up. However many times you can. And you're thinking, you're communicating with your feet. You've got thousands upon thousands upon thousands of nerve endings in your feet. So you want to keep those nerve endings active because your feet communicate to your brain. Every time you step on a surface, your feet are telling your brain what the surface is and how to adapt. Your body adapts to where it is in space. A couple more taps, my friends. Toes to the floor, putting space between your toes. How much space can you get in between your digits? It might not be that much for you, or you might be able to get a lot of space. Whatever it is, let your feet relax. And again, let's splay your toes. Big exhale, relax, let your feet relax. One more time. Toes spread, there we go. Strengthening your feet, let your feet relax. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Take a moment, feel your feet connecting to your mat, to your flooring, to earth. Take a moment and I encourage you to be in a state of gratitude, your head and your heart connected. There is always something that we can be in gratitude for, even on tough days. Arms lift, swan dive into supported forward fold. Step your legs back, knees to your mat. Shift your shoulders and wrists into a modified plank. I'm going to turn just for camera view. You've got your knees on your mat, your feet are going to be lifted. Wrist, elbow, shoulder, one long line. Top of your head lifts, shoulder blades down your back, drawing your navel in. Big breath. Now as you exhale, lowering your heart toward the floor, all the way down, lowering your feet. Front of your feet on your mat, your thumbs next to your chest. We're coming into a moving cobra to strengthen your back. All right, lifting up, and then come on back down. Breathing in as you lift, and breathing out. Strengthen your back muscles, and you help with your balance. Balance, a lot of balance is core, your abdominals and your back. One more lift, and then hold. Roll your shoulders back. Now here's your option. You might opt to keep your hands on the floor, or you might look at your mat and lift your arms up, your hands up, and draw your shoulder blades a little closer together. Checking in with your breath. One more time. And hold. Hands come down, tuck your toes under, my friends. Come on up to hands and knees. Bring your knees as wide as your mat, the front of your feet on your mat. We're coming into frog pose to open up through your hips. You might be on your hands, you might opt to come onto your forearms. I like my forearms, but you've got that option. Slide your tailbone back and shift forward. You've got your shoulder and elbow crease in alignment. And coming back and forth. If you have issues with your knees, you can slide a pillow or a blanket or towels underneath. Or you can fold over the side of your mat as well. It's also another option for those of you with sensitive knees. Bring your tailbone back and hold. Slide your arms in, make a fist on top of the other, and then you can rest your forehead on your hands, and that keeps your neck into alignment. You want to make sure that your neck is always supported. You might opt to stay in stillness. Moving your hips back and forth, doing a little side-to-side shift might feel right for you, so you get to do whatever works for you. And if you're not sure, explore your movement. Big hip opener. You spend a lot of time sitting, your hips are going to get tight. Your hips get tight, your knees will get out of alignment, your ankles will get out of alignment, you'll develop foot issues. A lot of times it starts at your hips. Lower back is tight, Sometimes we blame it on the lower back, but it might actually be tight hips. Bringing your tailbone to center, hands onto your mat. Come on into hands and knees. Tuck your toes under, slide your tailbone back, making sure your pinky toes are tucked under, and this stretches out your plantar foot muscles. And if you've got tight calves, eventually your foot muscles will get tight. And if your calf muscles are really tight, you might develop plantar fasciitis, and we want to avoid that. That is not fun. Front of your feet on your mat. Taking a breath. Tuck your toes under once again. Front of your feet on your mat. Coming to all fours. We're going to be doing our bird dog pose, working through our core. Start with your right leg. Right leg goes back. Top of your head lifts. So you're creating lots of lengthening through your core, all through your spine. You might keep your right foot on the floor, or you might lift. Option, left hand can stay where it is, or bring your left arm forward. Shoulders in alignment, hips in alignment, and really reaching. Relaxing your shoulders. Think about what you're reaching for. Breathe out, come onto hands and knees. Cat stretch, rounding your back, tuck your chin in. It's a really good spinal stretch. Release to neutral. All right, bird dog on your other side. Left leg goes back, top of your head lifts. If you care to, right arm can come forward, left foot can stay on the floor, or you can lift. Squaring off your hips, and that will give you an equal weight distribution through your torso. How long can you reach? Can you create space in between your discs? That's what we want. We prevent shrinking. Yeah. And release to hands and knees. All right, my friends, have a seat. Swing your legs in front. Coming into our staff pose. In yoga world, it's known as Dandasana. Heels to the floor, toes up toward the ceiling. You're going long in your legs and long in your torso. Interlace your fingers, arms lift. Relax your shoulders. Hands come down. Reach your arms back up. How high up can you get your knuckles? And as you lift your arms, you're getting a lengthening through your lower back, through your spine. Bring your hands over to one side, doesn't matter which one. You're pressing your opposite sit bone to the floor. So you're getting a stretch all through your side. Back to center, lowering your hands. So how your hands are interlaced, the thumb that's in front is going to go on back, and you're going to switch all your other fingers. Ooh, a little weird. Reaching up, it just shows you what kind of habits we constantly get into. Hands come down, reach up once again. Lengthening through your spine, you're going to walk tall throughout your day. Hands going over to your other side, pressing your hip to the floor. You open up through your armpit, it's your lymphatic system, it's your immune system. And we can all use an active immune system right now, as strong as we can. Hands come center, lowering your hands. Yogis, bend your right knee. Your right knee is going to come out to the floor. Bottom of your right foot to the inside of your left leg. If you need support for your knee because of knee issues or hip issues, you can slide a block or a pillow underneath your leg. Left knee, my right, your left, centers. So the square of your kneecap, all 4 points on your kneecap are pointing up. So that keeps you into a neutral hip alignment. So when we come forward, which we will be doing, your hip is able to move in the most optimum way. Hands to your legs or the mat, lowering from the edge of your rib cage. Your lowering might be up way high. Some of you will be able to get very low. Explore your movement. It's your yoga. You do your practice that's right for you. Top of your head lifts. Deep breath. Lifting the top of your head as long as you can. Although you're going low, you still want your lower back in a nice long alignment. Keep your top of your head lifted. And that may mean you need to rearrange your hand position, and that's okay. You encourage yourself to go as far as you can go for your stretch without coming to a place of pain or discomfort. Hands to your mat. Roll on up. All right, yogis, crisscross. Your left leg in front, if you need to, support. For some of you, crossing your legs might be fine. For some of you, it's not gonna be. And then you can cross with your ankles more toward the front of your mat, or you may need to go back to your staff pose, and it's all okay. Right hand to your left shoulder, left arm comes underneath. So you're creating sort of a chevron in your elbows, drawing your elbows in toward your chest as you lift your chest. Elbows lift, and bringing your elbows toward your heart. Let's do that a couple more times. So you're opening up through your upper back. And bring your elbows in. And give yourself a little bit of a gentle rocking, like you're rocking a baby. When was the last time you rocked a baby? In a while, especially now. And bring your elbows to center, hands to the floor, sliding your hands forward. Relaxing your shoulders. For some of you, your arms are going to remain long. Some of you will be able to get your forearms to your mat. Or, if you've got your blocks, you know I love my blocks, you can bring your forearms onto your mat with your blocks. Hands to your mat, roll on up. Anytime you come from a forward position to rolling up, you want to make sure your hands are supported, and that supports your back. Coming back into your staff pose. Doing a neck stretch, chin toward your chest, very gently opening up the muscles in the back of your neck. And they can get tight from how you sleep. Side sleepers very often have tight necks. It might be also how your head rests on the pillow. Ear to shoulder, doesn't matter which one. Bringing your chin a little closer toward your sternum. Pressing your heels to the floor a little bit deeper. You might even press your hands to your mat and lift your heart. Coming back to center. And then switching sides. Ear toward shoulder, tucking your chin in just a little bit more to get a little bit deeper of a stretch. Coming back to center. Slowly looking forward. Left knee bends, bringing your left knee out to the side. All right, let's do our alignment check before we progress. Right knee is centered, heel to the floor, toes up. Let's see the bottom of your foot. Lifting your heart, lowering your rib cage, your heart toward your mat, and then come on up. And do that a couple more times to open up your back muscles before you come into a long hold. So you generate some heat into your muscles. And then come on forward and hold, find your stretch. Top of your head lifting. There's a myth that you have to get down as far as you can, but really it's about alignment. It's about keeping your spine long. It's about keeping your shoulders back, not only so that you can open up your heart energy, but also posturally. You want to, throughout your day, have your shoulders back. If you find that you walk with rounded shoulders, that is eventually going to change your gait. Checking in with your breath. And encourage yourself as if you would encourage a really good friend. I doubt with a really good friend you would say, oh, go to a point where you hurt yourself. You would say, go to a point where you feel your stretch. So talk to yourself like you would your best friend. Hands to your mat, roll on up. Right, crisscross. Right leg in front. Sitting up as tall as you can. Find the leg position that works for you, that makes your hips feel okay, your knees feel okay, whatever that is. Left hand to your right shoulder. Right hand underneath. Draw your elbows in. You might have your hands more toward your elbows, and that's okay, rather than your shoulders. Elbows lifting, and then lowering, and lift, and lower. One more time. Lift as high as you can. And elbows come down. Now let's give your baby a gentle rock. Ooh, twins. Opening through your back, very gentle with your movement. Anytime you're coming into a side-to-side movement, really make sure your rib cage is lifted. And that could be when you're turning to, looking over your shoulder to back up your car. First, before you twist, make sure that your rib cage is lifted, because that creates space between your discs. It's less impactful on your back. And then come back to center. Hands to your mat, slide your fingertips forward. Deep breath. Palms to your mat. Roll on up. All right, yogis. Bottom of your feet to the floor. Lifting all of your toes. Now your number 5 toes, your pinky toes are going to go down. Keeping your ankles centered, your knees without movement. And lift. Your big toes go down and then up. Now let's alternate. Pinky toes down and up, big toes down and up. You're working your end toes. And that helps make your feet stronger. It also activates your brain. Lifting all of your toes to your mat. All right, yogis, roll back, bringing your knees in toward your chest. Holding onto your hamstring muscles, upper back pressing to the floor. Circle your feet and ankles. Getting a big rotation. Your ankles actually take a while to warm up, and to get some movement, big movement into your joints is a good idea. Every day. When your toes come to 12 o'clock, let's change direction. Big circles. Your ankles really play a big role in balance, so you want to make sure your ankles stay strong, but also that they stay open. One more circle. Palms to your mat, feet to the ceiling. So you put paint onto your feet, and you're going to decorate your ceiling. What colors you're going to pick. Drawing your navel, upper back pressing to the floor, getting lots of length into your legs. Press your heels up. Checking in with your breath. Take a big, big breath. When you're ready, deeper exhale. Knees coming in toward your chest. Yogi, stretch your arms out into a T. Your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder in alignment. Feet to the floor. Bringing your knees over to your right side. Letting your lower back relax. Looking over toward your left hand. If you find that having your knees over is difficult for you, you can put a block or a blanket or pillows underneath you, and that's okay. Breathe out any tension you're carrying in your lower back. A lot of energy gets stored in your lower back. So we open up our muscles to give energy and opportunity to move around. Bringing your feet back to center, knees toward the ceiling. Bringing your knees back in toward your chest. Tuck in your elbows, coming into Apana, a nice big tight tuck. This is really good for not only your lower back, but it's also good for your digestive system. Breath in and exhale, lowering your feet, arms stretched back out into a T. This time you're bringing your knees over in the other direction. I believe that would be your left. Letting your back relax. Letting your pose happen rather than forcing. Let your day happen rather than forcing. Upper back melting to the mat. Sort of like frosty. Looking toward your right hand. Tuning into how your back feels. You might find tightness that you didn't realize was there before, and that's okay. On your exhale, come back to center, palms to your mat. We're coming into a floating bridge pose. Lift and lower your hips. Now, if you have a block, you want to make sure your knees stay in alignment, the block is a great tool to make sure that your knees and hips stay aligned. You're bringing your hips up and lowering. You might even contract your gluteals on the way up as well. A couple more times, and then bring your hips up and hold. This might be your pose. This might be your bridge pose today. That's okay. If you want to go a little deeper, take your hands underneath you. Bring your shoulder blades a little closer. Press your knuckles toward your heels. Can you lift your hips a little higher? You want to progress your pose from here? It's okay if you do. On your exhale, lift your heels. Now that might be too intense for you, and that's okay. So then bring your heels down. You adjust to what posture is right for you. Checking in with your breath. Keeping your hips lifted, we're fighting gravity every moment of the day. Releasing your hands, lowering your heels. Deep breath. Lengthening your legs, bringing your hands past your head, pressing your toes toward the floor. Let's get a big, big, long body stretch. You might get a little bit of an arc in your back, and that's okay. Relax. And again, stretch. Reaching through your fingers, your navel right in the center of your abdominals. Reaching through your hands. Big exhale. Relax. And one more time. One more big stretch. Exhale and relax. Checking in, doing a little body scan. How's your breath? How are you feeling? All right, yogis, it is time for relaxing. You might bring your arms to the sides. You might sit up. You might go to your side, whatever works for you. We're going to take a few minutes of deep breathing, inhaling, and deep exhaling. Close your eyes, get comfortable. If you need to put yourself in a blanket, or if you want to put your socks on, go right ahead. Checking in with your breath. You might opt to have your hands on your heart. Eyes are closed, and allow yourself to drift between that space of wake and sleep. And your breath is the vehicle that will take you to that space. Inhale and exhale. Breathe in peace. Breathe in calm. Breathe in acceptance. Tuning into your breath. Connecting head and heart into gratitude. Encourage yourself every day to find time, to carve out time to connect to gratitude, and it will make an incredible difference in your day. Breathing in. Relax your feet. Relax your ankles. All the muscles in your legs relaxing from your ankles to your hips. You can feel any tightness from your hips to your feet just washing out of you. Your hips and your pelvis and your lower back and your gluteals relaxing. Relax into your torso, your lower back, your mid-back, up by your rib cage. You take in a deep breath and feel how your rib cage responds to your breath. Feel how your abdominals respond to your exhale. Relax around your heart, and your shoulder blades, across your chest, down your arms to the tip of each finger. Your neck muscles relax. You feel the relaxation coming up from your neck through the front of your face, front of your head, your jawline, your temples, your forehead. You feel a relaxation coming up the back of your head. All of your relaxation coming together to the top of your head, and you create this incredible light above you. It is a light of encouragement. It is a light of guidance. It is your light. From head to toe, you are relaxed, you are calm. Gently rolling to your side, coming into a fetal position. It is a position of renewal, regeneration. You came from the movement of your practice to your calming into the rest of your day. So I encourage you to bring a little bit of movement into your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Pressing your hands to the floor to support your back as you come up to sitting. Finding a sitting position that's comfortable for you, however that might be. Bringing your hands back, it might be the same as in the beginning of your practice, could be very different. You might have your hands up or down. You might opt to have your hands on your heart, wherever you're tuning into in the moment without overthinking, just let it be organic for you. Breathing in, breathing out. Hands coming together at your heart center, your hands of namaste, your thumbs actually connecting up against your heart. Bowing your head toward your heart, your head and heart coming into a closer place of communication. It is also a sign of respect for yourself, for others. And it is an honoring our own light first that we can then look for the light in each other. I honor the place in you that is the same in me. I honor the place in you where the universe resides. I honor the place in you that is of peace and truth and love and light. And when you are in that place in you and I am in that place in me, it's then that we are one, we are united, we are eternally connected. We reconnect to the energy of our singing bowl in a moment. I'll just turn the music off so you can hear the singing bowl. Just as our singing bowl brought us into our practice, it will take us from our practice into a place of peace and calm and acceptance. And from the light within us, We honor the light in each other, as we say. Namaste. Yogis, thanks for joining us today at the Bethel Senior Center. We will see you again. Stay well, stay happy, keep your mask on, wash your hands, and have a great day.